1-72. Use your knowledge of place value to place the correct inequality sign. Is less than or is greater than between each pair of numbers. So go ahead and pause the video so you could copy the problems down, have some space between them. In this video, I'm going to do letter B, which is also connected with letter D, and I would like you to try the other two on your own. Now, according to the text, we need to use the place value, so we're going to compare. So if in order to use those inequality is less than or is greater than, we're comparing numbers based on place value. So go ahead and write example B, and then you can go back and do A, or after you watch the video, you can correct. So in example B, I'm going to line up the numbers based on their place value, and I like to do them underneath so that I could clearly see. And remember, if there is a missing number, you could always add a 0 after as a placeholder. So they look with like same digits, but right now the 6 is in a different place value. So I could add a 0 after if I need to. So right now I'm going to use my highlighter and compare them. So 3 as a whole number is exactly the same. The place value is the same. So far so good. They're equal as whole numbers. The next place value is exactly the same. So I'm going to say they're still equal in the place of the tenths. So if I keep going, I see 0 and 6 in the hundredths place. So we have here the hundredths place. However, we have a 0, which is smaller than 6. So now I can really compare them. So I'm saying this number is smaller according to the place value. So when I'm drawing smaller, I want to make sure that I'm using is less than. So I'm going to do it right here, but of course you're going to do it on your paper. So smaller, notice than the opening. So this is like a 1 dot, and here's the larger. This is the larger number, and this is the smaller number. So I'm using like 1 dot. So if I'm gonna draw this as a like triangle. Now in part D, in letter D, we're supposed to do a round. So when we round, they're gonna tell us where to. So they're saying to the nearest tenth. So go ahead and pause the video and write the problem B again. So I'm going to do the same. I want to write them, and then I'm going to identify the nearest 10th place to round. Okay, so when we are asked to round to the nearest 10th, I want to make sure to where is that location. So the 10th place is right after the decimal. So I locate, so this is where we're going to be rounding to. So my number would have a whole number and one more digit after the place value, and the same for the other one. So after the decimal, 10th place. So this is the 10th place of the for the rounding. Now when I'm rounding, I look what's next to it on the right side. So the number that is behind it is 0, therefore it's smaller than 5. So I'm going to just copy, and my rounding is 3.0. So it is 3, but because it needs to be the nearest 10th place, so I have to leave the 0.0. Okay, now similarly, so I want to look at what's coming after. So I need to be rounding up to here, but what's coming after is the number 6. 6 is larger than 5, so I need to round up. So I'm going to be adding 1, like adding 1. So it's going to be for up, so it's going to be 3.1. So the next number from 0 is 1. Now, this is in the nearest 10th place, 10th. So even if we were asked to compare, we still have this number to be larger. But if we were perhaps asked to round to the nearest whole number, So let me write them again. So if they ask me to round to the nearest whole number, will be just up to here. So if I look at the 0, it will stay the same, so that will be 3. Similarly, to the nearest whole number, it will be up to here to cut it. And I'm looking here, and that's a 0, so I would say 3. So they would be actually equal if I was rounding to the nearest ones, or like whole number. So it does matter when you round to which place value we're being asked. In this case was to the nearest tenth, which gave us the same comparison symbol as the actual numbers earlier. So remember, you need to do A and C, and you're just being asked to compare them. So use the idea of lining them up by the decimal and then 1 digit at a time comparison.